All right, so this is another rite of passage. Cracking password hashes is a standard activity, especially Windows password hashes, because Windows uses an incredibly out-of-date system, which has been out of date since 1975. Windows uses one round of MD4 because they designed this in 1993 before MD5 even existed, and that is just appalling. It is literally 1,000,000 times weaker than Linux or Mac password hashes. You can try 1,000,000 times as many passwords per second. So it's amazing. Anyway, but all kinds of services hash passwords. So I'm going to try doing it on this Debian machine to see how it goes. You do not, on this Kali machine, you do not need to install Hashcat. It's already on there. But in the past, you had to actually downgrade to an earlier version of Hashcat to run it on a machine without a GPU, and I think that is no longer necessary with the modern version. We're going to try it. So first I'm going to make a test user. Let me get my Debian machine here, my Kali machine, and I'm trying to make it so I can see it at the same time as the instructions. There we go. Let's get this out of the way and get this over to the side. All right. Might be able to do it. All right, so first I'm going to make a new user because I want to do password hash. So add user, Fred. I give it my password. Okay, now that Fred's new password, I'm giving it password. Okay. All right, and now it's asking me questions. Let's see if I can get this thing to show me the whole window. Come on, stop messing with me. Okay. There, it's asking me for stuff like the name and all this jazz. And now I just have to say yes at the end. Actually, default is yes. Good. All right. So now it's created a new user. All right. We can view the password hash if you just cat etch shadow. Oh, I got to do sudo. Okay. Sudo. Gotcha. There we are. So there's all the users. And you can see, for example, the original user Kali. Here's root. And anyway, yeah, here's Kali and here's Fred. Those are the only two users with passwords. And like I was saying, the password we know is password, but it doesn't store it in that literal form. It stores it in this hash form. And the way it works is the dollars is the delimiter. $Y tells you what type of password hash is. Then the next comes the salt. The salt is this mess, which is like 8 or 16 random characters. And then comes the actual password hash, which is that stuff. And the way this works is it takes your password, like PASSWRD, it then adds the salt to it, all these extra letters, then it runs it through SHA-512 5,000 times. And that's what this mess that comes out is. And the point is, if there are two users with the same password, they will not have the same password hash because the salt will be different. And the salt is not a secret. The salt is just sitting there in plain text. That's why they stopped a lot of attacks. Like in Windows machines, there's no salt, so everybody with the same password has exactly the same hash. So you can spot them in a list, and all you have to do to hack a Windows password is just Google the hash, because for 25 years, everybody's been recording them on the internet, and if somebody used that password, the hash is out there. That's all you have to do usually. It doesn't work on Linux or the Mac because of the salt. The salt won't be the same, so 1,000,000 people could have the same password, and no two of them would have the same password hash, because there's 16 random letters added to it. So that's what's going on here. All right, and so anyway, we want to crack this with Hashcat. So what we're going to do, the new password is $Y, and that's the newest password hash, which is pretty strong. And at least when I wrote this project a couple of years ago, you couldn't crack those passwords with Hashcat yet. So we have to make the older ones to see it work. So first, let's see if I have who is. I've got it. Okay. So let's see if I can make password. This should create a file if I can do it. That's what I'm testing on Kali. I did it on Debian, and we're going to see how it looks on Kali. All right. Okay, it ran. So if I do ls-l, there is a file called crack1.hash. If I look in there, whoops, got to spell it better. Okay. Well, there it is. Okay, it's made a hash, and I just used a salt for the salt, random letters. Okay, I've now made a hash. That's fine. Okay. And in fact, HAWB, notice it's exactly this, because I took away the randomness. I specified use exactly that hash. So the password is password, and the salt is salt. That's what the 5,000 rounds of SHA-512 will do, give you that. So now I've got that, okay. All right, and you can find, by the way, in your operating system, there's this thing called login.defs that explains how it works, and at least when I did it a while ago, this explains what the way it works is 5,000 rounds of SHA-512, which is the standard on the Mac too. So anyway, now I download a word list. Let me just do this stuff. I probably have wget, let's see. I do, okay, so I don't need to install it. I just need to get this, and then I'll look at the head and the tail. I'm just downloading a word list to make the project reasonably fast. There it is, downloading it. And there it is, giving me the start and the end of it. Okay, it starts with zeros, it ends with Z's. It's just a list. And I can find, we used grep in the other project. This is how you look for a line. I'm going to see if password is in there. And of course it is. Yeah, there's a bunch of things starting with password in there, of course. And so I can see how long it is with WC minus L. I'll just do it this way. There, that's 128,000 passwords in that list. A relatively short list for cracking passwords. And now we should be able to crack it with this. Whoa, okay, it didn't listen to me this time. Right-click, copy. This is VMware Tools. Tries to let you do copy and paste, and it doesn't work very well on Kali. It never has. It fails about half the time. You copy, you're supposed to be able to paste, but somehow it fails a lot. So a thing to be aware of. One of the many reasons I don't like working in the console. If you're just in an SSH session, it works, because you're not going across the operating system barrier. But anyway, it worked this time. Let's see what happens. There it goes. So what happens is it starts running, and it, like I say, the modern version of Hashcat finally doesn't demand a GPU, which an earlier version did. It'll run on a virtual machine, which is a very weak platform with just a CPU. And of course, it can't crack really tough password hashes. It can crack simple ones, but to really crack ones in practice, you have a machine with a whole bunch of GPUs and a whole cluster of them to go really fast. Yeah.
There is a new feature in Hashcat that is absolutely incredible. If you just do Hashcat and the file that you're trying to crack,
yep,
it'll tell you what type it likely is.
Oh, good.
Before, it was such a pain. You'd have to research it and then go to the manual and try to figure out the mode you would have to use. But they finally fixed it. So I'm so happy with Hashcat.
Oh, good. By the way, this thing here happened, I remember this, not enough allocatable device memory. A default Kali machine doesn't have enough memory. So you have to use sudo power off, and you have to add more memory to it, which is here. There is memory. It starts with only 2 gigs. You have to give it 4 gigs. So that's solvable. Now if I restart it, it should do it this time. Okay. Yep, there it goes. And so it is running, doing its stuff, dictionary cache built, host memory required, temperature, it's running. And if you press enter, it'll give you the status. It tells you progress, and somewhere in here it tells you how many percent it's gone through of the passwords. Here's the target, salt, and that HAW thing. And recovered 0 out of 1. Progress, 14,000 out of 128,000, 11%. Okay, it's made it through 11% of the table. Now it's made it through 31% of the table. So of course it's not going to take too long. It'll just take a minute or two because I had a short list for this reason. But real professionals, they use Hashcat to not only do the list, but mutate the list. Like combine 2 words together, add numbers to the end, add special characters, so the list is many billions. And then you have a powerful machine with a lot of GPUs to run really fast, and that's how you crack really tough passwords. On a virtual machine, you don't have much power, so you can only crack easy ones. And this list was only 100,000, which is nothing in the world of password cracking. Now it's up to 62%. It's pretty good. See, here it even shows you it's up to killer bees. I think it's alphabetical. Now it's up to null. You can see it's going through the letter, KLMN. Yep, and it's done. Now, one thing about hash cracking utilities is since they intend to run in a batch mode like overnight, they don't print the answer on the screen. They hide it somewhere. It's very annoying. You have to hunt for it. After they find it, in principle, it should tell me that it found it. In practice, I sometimes have to hunt for it. Is it up here? It said, you see it, it recovered one of one. It found the password, but where is it? Oh, there it is. It's up here in this case. In the past, I've actually had to find the command to recover it because it hides it in like some deeply hidden file. You often have to go to Google and say, where is the stupid password? Or you have to execute it with a command like show passwords or something. Anyway, there it is. See, it found it was password that matched it. So that's what it does. And Hashcat, like Metasploit and like Nmap, it's one of the basic things you should know how to use. It's one of the basic tools in the business because everybody's still using passwords. And then there's a flag defined there, and then there's a challenge where you have more passwords to crack that I made on a Windows machine, and there's various ones that are harder and harder. You're going to try cracking some passwords. So that's what I wanted to show you. That's another thing that's good to do.
You have to run it on their machine, right?
Have to run it on what?
Tool
What tool?
to break the password.
Hashcat. Yeah, you have it on Linux.
Oh, no, you run it on your own machine. So you steal their hashes.
Oh, just find
Yeah.
the hash and then
Yeah.
Yeah.